Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wight Noise Podcast. With me is my co-host, Ethan.
Belligerent and numerous.
Thanks for that reference, nobody understood. And my social media manager, Aaron.
Why?
I didn't have an intro this week. I just had a pen beside me.
Nice. And we have a special guest here, Micah from the... I'm not sure I'm actually allowed to say that in my house. Am I allowed to say that in my house?
You should be able to.
Yeah, okay. It's very, very unique podcast. Uh-oh.
You gonna say the name?
I did.
Did you?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, it's very unique.
What are you on about? It's the M.I.L.F Podcast, everybody.
Yeah, we talked about it
Micah
before.
from the M.I.L.F Podcast.
Good lord, AJ.
That's me.
You're welcome.
AJ, I want you to know I was waiting for you to fuck up the name.
Yeah, I wanted to.
You did. So, Mr. Micah, this is our first time
Yes.
ever speaking. We typed in Discord, but we've never actually talked back and forth. And so our really first time vocally meeting is on the podcast.
I mean, I listened to their podcast.
Well, yeah, but we've never chatted.
No, this is the first for just about everything. I mean,
Yeah.
other than typing it.
Yeah, it's the first time we've had a guest that we didn't know personally,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
outside sources on the podcast. So that's pretty dope.
I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here with you fellas.
So would you like to explain what your podcast's name means?
Okay, so basically it was Men in Love with Film, which is the Milfpod part of it. And but now it is Man in Love with Film because my good old pal Chandler decided that he was having some more pressing personal matters to deal with than worrying about a podcast. So it is now just a little me, Micah Hughes, running a podcast.
So do you plan on doing it solo for just for good?
It might be me and my fiance doing it.
Gotcha.
But for now, I think my next episode might just be me. It might be me and her. I don't know. I might have more opportunities to bring some guests on. Maybe have you guys on, of course.
Don't bring me. I don't know anything about movies.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I can confirm.
Yeah, he knows nothing. We created a list for this man just to watch movies.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, let me pull that up because it came up of how many great movies Aaron has never seen.
Mm-hmm.
So we started making a list. We knocked off Scott Pilgrim because we watched that on our trip.
I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so we have Apocalypse Now, Donnie Darko, every Indiana Jones movie, Breakfast Club.
I've seen the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
That's
the
what I
worst
said. That's
Yeah,
what I said.
yeah, that's what
every
he said.
Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
Breakfast Club, James Bond movies. Because what you've seen, Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to see some older James Bond movies.
You need to put all the Tarantino movies on there, or at least the good ones. I haven't seen any of those either.
Never seen a Tarantino movie?
We had this whole discussion on the
Yeah.
way from Florida.
Oh yeah, we did. You've never seen either Kill Bill? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we
We
talked
did have
about
that discussion.
both of this because we talked about Tarantino and if he was actually done or not, or if Kill Bill counted as one film even though it was two.
Yeah. The Rock, Boondock Saints, Red Dawn, The Matrix.
original.
Yeah.
I've seen the remake.
Princess Bride and Peter Pan. Or
So-
what we have so far.
So I've seen some original movies, but they're just the remakes of the original movies. So
Yeah.
the
That's
worst
what's-
versions is what they say.
That's what's more infuriating is there will be some beloved and classic series, but the only part of it that you've seen is the modern remake or the last one, with the Indiana Jones thing.
Yeah.
It's the best one.
I don't know what conversation made me put Peter Pan on there. Have you never seen like the original Peter Pan?
No.
Seriously?
That was a Florida trip like reason too. Yeah. I've never seen the
Like,
original Peter Pan either.
The classic cartoon Peter Pan.
I've
I
seen
thought everyone had seen that.
Mm-mm.
Same. We did it. We did too.
Yep.
I didn't watch
Apparently
Aladdin
not.
until like 4 months ago.
What?
The original, right?
Yeah.
Seriously?
But you've seen the remake already.
No, I've never
Oh,
seen
okay,
that.
okay.
That's trash.
Okay.
I'm not watching that.
Didn't
like Will
Aladdin
Smith.
have a?
Yeah, that did not look good.
I'm racist
Didn't
against
Aladdin
blueberries.
have like a sequel? Like not the live action one,
It
but
did.
like an animated sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like Jafar or something. Jafar's curse or something.
Mhm.
Something
Yeah,
stupid with
something.
Jafar.
Yeah.
Somewhere
I never
around
saw
those lines.
that.
Yeah, I never saw it either. I only ever saw the
I
original Aladdin and see the remake.
Yeah, I was watching that somewhere we were like on a trip or whatever. I was watching a bit of it and then the power just shut out. Right, and so it just stopped halfway. And
It wasn't meant to be.
yeah, what was
Saving
weird though is that's exactly how my mom reacted because my mom and I were watching it and it just cut out and my mom got up like nothing happened and was like, "Oh, okay, that's it." And like went to bed. I was like, "The power went out."
She
and my
did
mom's
it.
like, "Yeah, it's over. We're not watching it." Like that was it.
She turned the power out.
Yeah, apparently.
She
Yeah.
put the breaker. Do you guys remember the movie Atlantis?
Yeah, the movie's fire.
Yeah, movie's great.
Did you ever see Atlantis: Milo's Return?
Yeah, the second one. Yeah, I did.
Didn't
It's
know that was
trash.
fire.
It's
Okay,
so bad.
here's why it's trash. I learned about this. So backstory behind that movie is that it was originally supposed to be a TV series.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, Atlantis was supposed to have its own TV series, its own whole set of episodes, a whole season, everything. I forget whoever the head for that entire section of Disney was shut that down. And so last second, the producers had to go, okay, we need to make something out of all of this like animated work that we have. So they made a second movie. That's what that is.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
And like half the voice cast isn't the same from the first movie.
Right. Because in the TV series, it was going to be like full on seasons. So
Yeah, that makes sense why it wouldn't be the same people.
yeah, it kept going.
Yeah.
So it's going to be different people. Yeah.
Oh no.
I didn't find out about that till like a month ago. I heard about it and I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yup.
Interesting.
I'm trying to remember what was the cookie, his 4 basic food groups. It was like beans, bacon, whiskey, and lard.
Yes.
Were his 4 basic food groups.
Yes.
Sounds like a good mixture.
Oh yeah. It's
You know, I eat a
balanced
bucket of
breakfast.
lard every weekend.
That's
Yeah, me too.
hot.
Here in the deep
That's-
south, we have barbecue flavored lard. It's the best.
Gosh, I tried to make like a catchy name, like a barbecue, but it fell apart.
That's just like a roasted D&D character.
barbecue.
Barbecue.
Oh, look at Aaron making a D&D reference. Wow.
Yeah,
look at him.
Yeah, the one like I've never played D&D.
I know.
I want to
Yeah.
eventually. I'll get there.
D&D is
fun.
fun.
See, even he's played it.
Yeah, me and Chandler have a friend group that plays D&D sometimes. It's not very often, but we do occasionally.
Yeah.
I have
See,
a
the one
friend
thing you
group that
need
does
for-
too. They just don't include me.
Oh, that's mean.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, if you want to drive an hour, like an hour and a half to see me for a D&D game,
If you're that committed.
Can I just be like a guest one day? Like just have a guest character?
Play as an NPC
Yeah.
for like one
yeah,
session.
but like midway through a campaign, we're like level 8, and he's
Yeah.
like, "All right, I've never played."
I'll be like somebody's dog or something.
Oh my gosh.
So
The Ranger's like beast companion. It's just Aaron.
Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of movies, even though we've strayed from that topic, so we're
hang on. I'll bring it back. There was.
I have a what?
Huh? I was gonna bring it back to TV series real quick, so that way it's not awkward, even though this is now officially awkward.
We're going to talk about the 80s D&D
Yes,
cartoon
that's exactly
because
what I was
please.
Yeah, they just like immediately just boss character. Just
Yeah. That's my favorite part about if you can look it up, like the whole series is on YouTube. But it's the D&D, like official D&D cartoon that was made in the 80s.
so
And
stupid.
in episode 1, they fight Tiamat as level 1 characters.
I'd
Fight
like
Tiamat.
to meet that DM just and give them a nice handshake, like good job, man.
Yep.
Just
And
right
no,
away.
like, because there's a character in the show that his name is Dungeon Master, and he's the one that he's like the little bald like wizard guy that like gives them all their weapons. Like
yeah.
when they first they land, because they go to a theme park and there's like a D&D roller coaster. And they're like, Dungeons and Dragons! And so they get on the roller coaster and they're riding it and they're like, whoa! And they get teleported to they get isekai'd into the D&D universe.
Uh-huh.
And they're immediately just running around with nothing to do. And they're like, where are we? What are we supposed to do? And Tiamat's chasing them. So then the character who's just watching all of this shit go down from like a ledge in the distance is the character that's the Dungeon Master, and he just points at them and he just says like a class. He's like, barbarian. And then this guy like changes outfits and he gets like a big ass club. And then he points at somebody else. He's like, acrobat. And then like they get their outfit and their weapons. It's wild. You should watch it.
I love how accurate that is too, because that's like 100% what happens. That's exactly what happens.
It had 3
It's like,
seasons.
no, that's exaggerated. It's like, no,
3
that's
seasons?
legit what happens.
Yeah.
Damn.
Looking at it right now.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
great.
do you guys cuss on this podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Well, like Ethan does. We don't.
Yeah, I keep it PG because I'm like, hang on, that man's title. Let me be sure that's okay.
I have a movie that you need to watch and review for us,
Okay.
if you don't mind. Ethan found
Yeah,
it and stumbled
absolutely.
upon it yesterday.
I did.
Or the
I
other
found
day.
it the other day, and I showed it to you.
First off, do you have Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Okay, so if you go to Amazon Prime Video, there's a movie called The Velocipaster. And I really need you to watch that for me.
Okay.
And I want a podcast about it.
Okay.
Because it's about a guy who moves to China, a priest of a Catholic church who moves to China and fights ninja and is half dinosaur and half priest.
What the fuck?
Let me read you the IMDb description of this movie. After losing his parents, a priest travels to China, where he inherits a mysterious ability that allows him to turn into a dinosaur. At first, horrified by his new power, a hooker convinced him to use it to fight crime and ninjas.
Yeah. Sounds like a great film.
It's a gold mine.
That sounds like the best movie ever made, and
Aaron.
I'm really sad I haven't heard about it until now.
I think it's
Aaron?
2019 too.
Are you
No,
serious?
it's
Yeah.
2018.
2018.
Oh my god, that
It says
recent?
official trailer
Yes, but it's
2019.
very recent.
I'm looking at IMDb and it says it was 2018. But
Oh.
conflicting.
It's a
reports.
horror movie.
Yeah.
I thought
Classified
that
as
would be
comedy
like
and
a-
horror.
I thought that would be like a 80s D-list horror movie kind
Like
of thing.
Trauma?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hold
I'd
on,
also
Clancy.
hope maybe you can figure this out. Is it made by the same people that made Tire? Because gosh, I hope so.
What is that? I've never heard of that either.
Oh, Tires is an amazing film. It's the story of a wheel.
Oh my god.
That's it. What?
Is it?
I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Oh no.
It's way higher than I thought it was gonna be.
64%?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is this a hidden gem?
It's got a 4.7 rating out of 196 ratings on Google.
Jeez.
Oh, dude, the director directed another movie too called Animosity.
Oh, it's not Tire. Darn.
Damn.
But yeah, Tire's a great film. It's the story of a wheel that just goes around, and it's all narrated.
Huh.
Let me
That's
see
it.
if this movie looks garbage too. I'm watching this
This
trailer
is-
real quick.
I'm watching a review, or I'm reading the reviews, and one of them is a negative review. It says it's a haphazard mess, no matter how self-aware it is about its own stupidity.
And that's a negative one? Done.
Yeah.
On me and Chandler's last episode we read I think it was like 10-star or whatever IMDb uses. We read out like the top scores for the Cats movie.
I remember that.
It's fucking golden,
So-
dude.
I was because I was on a bus for a choir trip because I'm at university and I'm in like several different choirs, and we sometimes have performances that we have to drive long distances to go to, and I was on a bus and it was like a 2.5 hour drive, and I was like sitting there and I was like and it was when you first joined the Discord and we were talking, and I was like, oh yeah, I should probably listen to their podcast. And so then I found it, and that was the most recent episode, so I just started with it. And I listened to it on the bus, and I was sitting next to my girlfriend. And when it got to you guys, you were reading the reviews for, like, the positive reviews for Cats. I was crying laughing. And my girlfriend tapped me on the shoulder, and I had to take my headphones off. And I was like, yeah, babe? And she's like, are you okay? She's like, what are you listening to?
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Oh yeah, I had a great time.
Good to hear.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
There was one review. I forgot exactly what it said. It's been a little while since I recorded the episode, but it was like, I wish I could give this movie 100 stars. It's a masterpiece. I don't know what anybody else saw. This movie's like a work of art. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe somebody actually thinks that the Cats movie is a good movie. Like, it's what?
No, it's not. It's not a good.
See, yeah, that's
Have
the
you guys
thing.
seen it?
I have
I
seen
haven't seen
so
it.
many bits of it to the point where it's like, okay, I don't want to watch this. Like, I feel
not
like
paying
I've
the
already
money for
watched it, and I hate that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm upset that I feel like I've watched it.
I've seen like a production of Cats, the musical. And so what's funny is my girlfriend, she's a music student here at our university, and she loves musicals. I don't. Like stage musicals, you know. She like when we're in her car, she's like listening to musical soundtracks and stuff.
Yeah.
God, the amount of times that we've listened to the goddamn Book of Mormon soundtrack. But so she loves musicals, but I asked her, I was like, so what do you think of Cats? She was like, that shit's weird.
Yeah.
What
So,
are
like,
they called
even
again?
people who-
Angelicals?
Jellicle Cats. and-
Jellicle, that's it.
Jellicle, and I don't remember the other ones. I don't know. I think it starts with an M. I really don't. I don't know. I don't remember, and I don't ever want to think about cats again.
Okay, here's the thing. I think it could have been a much better movie, like it still existing, but because it wasn't supposed to be live action and crappy and awful looking and terrible. It was originally supposed to be animated. And I think
Yeah,
that
I
would
had
have
heard
been
about that.
that would have been a lot better, having those star actors and actresses, because there was like, it was high end, like a like rated
Fucking Idris
people.
Elba was in there.
Right. Yeah. Amazing actors and actresses were in this
Was it
film.
Rebel Wilson in it as well?
Yes. Yes. She was the worst character for this. It was
I
disgusting.
hated James Gordon more.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But it was supposed to be animated. It was supposed to
Yeah.
be animated. And that would have been so much better. It would have been like
Oh, yeah.
it would have been like Aristocats, but
Or if they had,
Updated.
they could have done like high def 3D animation, like Adventures of Tintin style.
yeah.
Yeah,
I've been
Oh,
okay
that
with
was
that.
that was a good movie.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
it yet. I know it's on Netflix. I really want to see it.
It's pretty
I
good.
never saw it.
Pretty solid movie.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think
Yeah.
I like rented it when it first came out for some reason, but it was I enjoyed it.
Directed by Peter Jackson,
Mhm.
wasn't it?
No, I think it was. I think it was the same guy that did like World's End and all those movies. What is his name? Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Baby Driver is one of my all-time favorite movies.
I love that movie so much.
It's such a good movie.
What is this? What am I finding?
It was directed by Steven Spielberg, and it was co-produced by Peter Jackson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wrong. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
I knew that Weta Digital is the one that did all the animation for it.
Mm-hmm.
So the same people that did like the Lord of the Rings films.
Oh, fancy.
I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, by the way.
I haven't seen a single one of them except what is the Desolation of Smaug? I think I saw that.
Nice,
Hobbit.
worst one.
Yeah.
You pulled an Aaron and
I
you
was
saw the
about to
worst
say,
one.
Yep, pretty much.
He's coming in strong. I like him already.
Yeah.
Fuck off!
What was that?
I live in a dorm.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I don't need to give any further
Yeah,
explanation.
I like how that
I get it.
explains everything. Just, I live in a dorm. That's it. That's all you need. That makes sense.
I don't have a roommate, but I have suite mates. So like how my building works is like it's 2 rooms to 1 bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So there's my next door neighbors I share a bathroom with, and that was my suite mate about to take a shower.
Woo!
Did you hear what he said after that?
No.
No.
He said it's dick washing time.
That's my favorite time of the day, honestly.
Yeah, for real.
Trey. All right, I'll talk a lot of shit about my sweet mate Trey, but
Where's the button, Trey?
he's really funny because one time I was taking a shower and he walked into the bathroom, and of course I had there's 2 curtains between like the toilet section of the bathroom and then the actual shower. So he wasn't like in the shower with me, but he was just like in the bathroom still. And he just goes, it smells like clean ass and balls.
That's funny.
So, we have our spats and our arguments, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Not
One
a
of the-
great D&D
one of the-
player from what I heard.
Man, fuck Trey if he's playing D&D with you. He had so Micah, you played D&D.
Yeah.
So, some people are more into the role-playing side of it, and some people are more into the combat aspect of the game.
Mhm.
And I get that, and that's fine. But I was the DM for this campaign that we had last year, and my sweet mate Trey was one of my players, and he would put headphones in if we weren't in combat.
Wow.
And just watch videos on his phone. And I would just look at him and be like, really? This is really what you're gonna... All right, whatever.
Wow.
And then we would get into combat, and then somebody would have to tap him on the shoulder and be like, Trey, we're fighting. And he's like, oh, we fighting now? Cool. And he would roll for initiative. And I'm like, I hate you so much.
Just tell him what happens whenever he would level up.
Oh God, he
I don't know
wouldn't he wouldn't do anything.
No.
He wouldn't do anything to level up because of course he wasn't paying attention. It would normally be at the end of a campaign, because normally you gain a level at a pretty good stopping point in the campaign. So normally the times where you level up are the end of a campaign. And so normally we would spend the last bit of a session together leveling up our characters, or it would be the first bit of the following session where we would level up our characters.
Yeah.
And Trey wouldn't know how to do any of it. He would always have to get 3 other people to help him level up. And he's like, all right, so what do I do? And we'd be like,
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. All right, here. And it would always take forever too. So it would always take forever because my buddy Eric would of course have to level up his character as well as leveling up Trey's character.
Yeah.
So it'd always take a while. So yeah, that wasn't the most enjoyable experience. But
That sounds
outside
pretty
of that,
bad.
outside of that, fun guy.
Nice.
What a good mushroom.
What?
Yeah.
Fun guy.
Fun guy. Yeah. Nice. There it is.
Yeah.
Your stupid flew under my head.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
So, Aaron, do you want us to talk about the tier lists that you had us make?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so
Yeah.
I thought of a new segment for the podcast. I really roughed out the word segment there. And where we kind of go and like make a tier list on different things, and then we just kind of like combine them all together at the end and like see like put them all in front of one another and be like, okay, how did he pick this, and like talk about it amongst everybody. And then at the end, I'll just put it on Instagram and everybody can vote to see who they agree with the most.
Oh, okay.
So this week we made a tier list of all of the Star Wars films.
Can
I'll
say my disclaimer real quick that I told you that I wasn't going to say.
Yeah, you say your disclaimer and then I'll say mine.
So I forgot completely what happens in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
We've already railed him about this.
Because I hadn't watched it since I was like 9. So my friend Emily is like my local Star Wars expert. Like, she knows literally everything there is to know about Star Wars. So I FaceTimed her while I was making the tier list. I was like, I need your help.
You know that, like, in the time between when you suggested we do this for the podcast and now, you could have just watched the movies.
I haven't had time. I've been watching The Boys.
Oh my gosh.
I was about to say, when you said I haven't had time, I was like, I know you've been watching The Boys on Amazon.
The Boys on Amazon. See, everybody says it like it's The Boys on Amazon. Like, that's the full title.
It's because it's like one of the 4 things that Amazon has.
AJ thought it was an HBO series called The Boys on Amazon.
I did. The way Aaron phrased it, it's like The Boys on Amazon. So I was like, okay.
Oh, that's good.
That makes sense to me. Like, that's what it. Because that's what Aaron does. Aaron watches a ton of stuff like on HBO and then would tell us about it. And then I'm like, it's something I haven't heard because it's on HBO, the thing that I don't have. That
I also watch like 3 things on HBO. Like, that's it.
But you always tell us about them. So that's why I was like,
I try to get you to watch them because The Watchmen's great.
Right. And I don't know about them, like, as, like, an actual series unless they're on HBO. That's the only way that I won't know about it, like, as far as, like, what I like and my friends like, is as far as, like, series and whatnot goes. This is on HBO. Usually. Can also be on Amazon, so it seems. I didn't know that until Aaron was like, yeah, The Boys on Amazon. So I was like, oh, okay.
I haven't ever watched anything on Amazon until now.
Okay.
I've watched a few things, mainly just Grand Tour, because I was a big Top Gear fan when it was still like the original cast of Top Gear. So I've watched Grand Tour on Amazon, and then just like obscure anime that is really good, but that is on Amazon, so no one knows about it. Like, what was it? Vinland Saga was one, and then Dororo was the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't know.
Yeah, so they're like really, really good anime, but they're put on Amazon, and that's not where like anime fans go to watch anime.
No.
I do want to watch Good Omens. I've heard that was like pretty decent.
Oh, I watched Good Omens too. I watched that
good?
this past summer. So good.
Okay.
Of course, like I love Neil Gaiman. He's awesome, and then of course, David Tennant is just.
That's why I wanted to watch this, David Tennant.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
do y'all wanna do the tier list before we get off track?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Aaron, or my little caveat disclaimer for my tier list was I haven't seen the most recent one. I haven't seen episode 9, so I didn't include it in my tier list. Because
I like how AJ included it.
I included it, and I haven't seen it yet.
Still hasn't seen it.
But
it's because like,
and even where you put it.
Oh yeah, I know where I put it. I can defend myself on where I put it. Okay.
Based on other people's opinion.
Yeah, but based on that, I can have my own opinion on it. It's not like I'm like stealing from them.
Whatever.
It's not.
Okay. All right, Ethan.
All right.
Go ahead and explain your tier list first. We'll just go down the line.
Okay. So do you want me to start at the top or at the bottom?
Start at
Wherever
the
you
bottom and
want.
work your way up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I have 2 films that I put as F tier, and that was which one was this?
I'm noticing a vast difference.
Yeah,
in all
there's
of
a
our
huge
opinions
difference in all of
with
it.
Micah's.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I was hoping for that.
yeah.
Because I listened to your most recent podcast and you talk about Star Wars a little bit, and I was like, ooh, we have different opinions.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And of course, so the thing is, I'll say this before, my tier list of Star Wars movies a year ago would be very different than this.
Same.
Like, my opinion is like always sort of changing, you know? And as I go back and like, when I see a movie as it comes out, I have one thought of it. And then when I go back and watch it after I've sort of let it marinate for a little while, I have a different opinion about it, you know?
Yeah.
So this has changed a little bit. But at F tier, I have Last Jedi and Solo.
I agree with that Solo one.
I didn't
hated
like Solo.
Yeah.
I didn't like Solo. There were parts of Last Jedi that I really, really enjoyed. There were like, you know, sections of it that I was like, this is a really good Star Wars movie, but it as a whole, I didn't enjoy, if that makes any sense.
I can understand that.
D tier. What do I have as D tier? I can't read it with the image that I have.
That's episode 2.
Force Awakens
and Force Awakens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have Force Awakens in episode 2. Episode 2 because like, out of the prequels, episode 2 is like the most bland to me. Like nothing stands out.
It's bland, and I went back and recently like watched episode 2. The transitions, I can't get over the transitions in episode 2. Oh my gosh. It's like a PowerPoint that some kid did for the transitions. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, that's true.
And Force Awakens because I don't know. Overall it was a good movie. And I had a good time watching it. There were just it's sort of the opposite of Last Jedi. Whereas like with Last Jedi, the whole I did not enjoy, but there were select bits that I liked. Sort of the flip with Force Awakens. There's like the whole I generally enjoyed, you know. It's a solid like, you know, 7.5, 8. But there were like a select few little nitpicks that I'm like, all right, okay. And then for C tier, I have episode 3, purely just because there's some great freaking memes that come out of episode 3, and that's what pushes it above 2 for me. Is
That's
just
the only
memes.
reason I like the prequels is because of the memes.
Yes. Yep.
They're really funny.
Yes.
I heavily rated my tier list on memes and different
Same.
VFX that happened.
Same.
Like different like visuals and stuff, like not just on content of the movie itself.
And then B tier, Rogue One. I liked Rogue One. I liked the new characters that they introduced, and that they weren't, you know, trying to bring back old ones, and it was just a completely new cast, and you got to see Kyber, which is pretty cool.
I agree.
It was a fun time.
I liked Rogue One too. It's a good spy movie.
Was a good spy movie. It was a good heist movie.
Yeah. That may be
and then
heist.
A tier, I have New Hope and Phantom Menace. New Hope, obviously.
Why is the Phantom Menace so high for you?
So the Phantom Menace, I realize that it's low for a lot of people.
I put it high too.
And the reason Phantom Menace is A tier for me, and I realize this is just a purely personal bias, is because that was the first Star Wars film that I ever saw, and that was the first Star Wars film that my family owned on VHS, and I watched it over and over and over and over again. And going back and watching it, because I went back and watched it semi recently. Yeah, there's a lot of flaws. There's a lot of flaws.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see that, but the reason it's so high with me is because that's the movie that made me fall in love with Star Wars. That was the first film that I saw.
I can get behind that. I can respect that.
I saw episode 1, and I think I saw episode 1, and then I saw episode 2 when it came out, and then I went back and watched the original trilogy, and then I watched episode 3 when it came out. I think that's the order in which I was exposed to the series. So I realized that for a lot of people, episode 1 is not going to be that high. It's that high for me purely because of nostalgia reasons. And then my S tier is Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Also, we never like broke down what the ratings were either. So I don't know what you guys rated yours on, but I did mine like S is like superb. You okay there, Micah?
Yeah, I accidentally put my phone on my laptop and then just.
Oh, I see.
I noticed
It's
that.
just a bunch of
I
places.
just was gonna just keep on going.
Love it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I rated mine as like S is like superb, A is like really good, B's good, C's okay, D's meh, and F is just like trash.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
I mean, yeah.
All right, Mr.
All right.
AJ.
Okay. So in my F tier, let's skip the one that I haven't seen yet. Let's just skip it.
So
Okay.
episode 9 in F tier, guys.
Yeah.
Based
yeah.
on Angry Joe's opinions.
Okay, no, it wasn't just that video. There were several others that I watched, but that one did stand out because it's literally like 3 hours long, and it's them explaining.
He's an
God.
expert. He watched
Scene
a
by scenes.
YouTube video.
It's scene by scenes. I
watched
never
a
said
YouTube video
expert.
longer than the movie.
I never said expert.
No, you didn't. I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
We're skipping
AJ,
it anyways, so y'all can shut up.
Imagine if you wouldn't have watched all those YouTube videos and went and watched the movie, and you would have still had like time left to watch YouTube videos. Like you watched more YouTube videos than the length of the movie.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Like a good bit more.
Yeah, because the theater that's nearest to me wasn't ever gonna. It never showed it. For one.
What?
Yeah, it never showed it. The theater to me is like super old.
It's
So,
so Angry Joe's
Bro, your
opinion
theater's
too.
whack.
It is. It really is. Two.
Brookhaven even showed it.
The seats there suck because again it's like super old. They remodeled it. It's like a really cheap place. Don't ever go there. I don't ever want to. And then the next place like closest to me to watch a movie in like a theater is like an hour and 30 minutes away. So no.
Jeez.
Yeah, no. That's why it's really tough for me to watch movies when they first release. I end up watching them on like Redbox. So that's what I have to do. But anyways, so then I put Last Jedi in F because
That's trash.
yeah, Ryan Johnson just messed up the story. He just messed it up. Made
Mike, hold your comments to the end. We gotta hear you
He
defend
made-
it on yours.
he made Luke evil, basically. Like Luke was like, nah, my nephew having nightmares and bad thoughts, going to the dark side, nah, that's not okay. Die. But in episode 6, Luke was like, oh no, Darth Vader, like my dad being the like evil person that he is, nah, there's like that tiny bit of good to him. I'm gonna go there unarmed and just like try to convince him to be good. So it's
Space
different,
Hitler thinking about genocide and doing genocide.
Yeah,
Nah,
no.
I sleep.
Yeah.
My nephew thinking about titties. Real shit.
right. Exactly. Okay. I didn't put anything in D tier. I
Yeah, you left D tier completely empty.
I did, because I was going to put Solo in
So
there.
he either was like, it's okay, or hated it.
No, I was going to put Solo in there. For the longest time, I was going to put Solo in there. But Solo did something good. And that's why it's in C. Because of this one itty-bitty thing, for me personally, I enjoyed. Which was at the very end, it shows Darth Maul being the head of, like, a cartel ring. And that's actually, like, in Legends. And they moved it, and the people, whoever was doing this and wrote that part in was genius, because they put that and they were like, oh yeah, that's in Legends. Yeah, we're going to make that canon now. So they moved something from Legends to canon, which is insane to me, because that's like a super rare thing. People that are doing the sequel didn't do that at all and went away from that and never did it. And then I have Force Awakens in C, because they got rid of like all the kyber crystals for it. So there was like no like lightsabers anymore due to this one film. Han Solo dies in it, which I guess was like a good reason for it to be more popular, was due to Craze in it, which is fine. That's okay. And then in B tier, I have Episode 2 and Rogue One. Like the new characters in Rogue One, I really enjoy memes out of Clone Wars a lot. They're great. And so that kind of balances each other out. And then in A, I have is it New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Phantom Menace in my A tier. Phantom Menace is an A for me, and it is also very high, because of the final fight scene. Is like it's the fight scene, like, for
I will agree.
A lot of Star Wars. Like I didn't realize it until Ethan told me and like explained to me, like there's no script at all for voices. Like there's no voice.
There's only one line delivered in that entire fight, and it's when Obi-Wan screams no when Qui-Gon gets stabbed.
And that like blew my mind. Like I was like, oh, that's true. Like I was like, that, yeah, like, so that entire fight scene, just the fact that they were able to put that into a film that's like in the Star Wars series and it do as good as it did, and there's like no voices whatsoever, no dialogue for that long, and it does good. That's impressive. So that's going in my A tier for that. And then Empire Strikes Back was great. I mean, it's one of the standpoints for like all of Star Wars. There's the whole deal in Hoth and everything, and that was one of my favorite parts, was with Hoth. But at the same time, a lot of it for Empire Strikes Back didn't age well. With like their, like, if you look in it for a bit, it looks like a bit of like claymation sort of style and use, and filmmaking was used in it.
Well, it's because they used miniatures and stop motion.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, miniatures and stop motion, and I guess that works.
They still did miniatures and stop motion for the new ones. And some of them.
That's why they're low. That's why they're low, Aaron. That's why they're low.
Explains a reason why he thinks the other ones are high, and then tells him that the new ones he did the same thing. Yeah, they're trash. I know they're trash. How they're
I kind of like the jankiness of like the AT-ATs and stuff in Episode 4.
What was the dude? What's the little dude's name in the newest movie in 9? What's his little name? He's a puppet. He's my favorite.
Babu Frick.
Yeah. He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best part about that movie.
I mean, yeah, he was comedic. Yeah.
You don't know. Shut your mouth. I'll kill you.
Yeah, I do know. He was funny.
Shut your mouth.
Okay.
I'll kill you.
Okay. And New Hope was great, because New Hope is just one of the it's the starting point for Star Wars. And then I have Return of the Jedi and Episode 3, which I noticed nobody put in their S tier.
Yeah, no. Why do you have Revenge of the Sith as S tier?
Because of the memes.
Good lord.
That makes sense for AJ.
It does. It really does. Like, I put that as S tier, and I was like, man, everybody else is gonna have this S tier for memes. And then I looked and I was like, nah, nobody does.
because of memes, it went from D to C tier for me. But for you, it went all the way up to S tier.
Yes, man. Yes, it did. It did.
Have the high ground.
Also,
it does have the high ground.
See, that fight scene also great. That fight scene's great. Okay, it explains a whole lot, and it's a nice way of like combining the prequels into the sequels, and it's a nice little like in between way of doing it, and it fits. And like the way I feel about it now is like I don't think it would have been done in a way as it was then, as if it was to be done now with Disney owning Star Wars. I feel like they would have done that movie differently, and I wouldn't have liked it as much.
They probably would have put better actors in it. But that's just
They would have. No, you're right. They would have done that. They would have put better actors in it. But I feel like the
Roasting.
storyline and the plot for it would have. I wouldn't have liked it. I wouldn't have enjoyed the plot points and the storyline behind it. And then
I really like the opening scene of episode 3, where they're like going to General
Yes.
Grievous,
Mm-hmm.
and that big like one take shot. It looks really good, and it doesn't look like the rest of the CGI in the other 2 movies that are absolute dog shit.
Correct. But at the same
And
time,
it looks really polished. and
at the
well
same
done.
at the same time though, it's due to like when episode 3 was released, because I think it was like, what was it? It's like 2007, 2008.
I thought it was like
Before that.
2005 or something.
No,
Yeah.
was it?
2003.
Was it really? I didn't think it was that long ago. Hang on, let me see. If so, then yeah, that's totally why I put it in S tier.
2005.
2005? Really? I thought it was like
Yep.
8 or something. Interesting.
No.
I guess that's when I watched it. Was around that time. I think.
Yeah.
That could be why I think that, or when it came on DVD, could have been around that time. But yeah, wow, that's amazing for that time period. Okay, yeah, that's why it's in my S tier. Yeah. And then I have Return of the Jedi also in my S tier, because Return of the Jedi is like oh my gosh, the amount of action that is in Return of the Jedi. One bunch of action in it. The hut scene in Tatooine, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The whole like the Endor battle, great, done successfully, amazing work on that. And Luke going to meet Darth Vader and basically almost dying until his father actually was like, okay, hang on, no, this is not okay. The Emperor's nuts and is crazy, and then throws him off, and then Emperor somehow still alive, but that's explained later and whatnot. But
I am the Senate.
yeah. Okay, that is my list.
That was a pretty good impression.
It's
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi.
Oof.
Nice political joke.
Thanks, man. I thought it was pretty good. Oh, you're
All
done.
right.
My bad. Sorry, it's my
Yeah.
turn.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So starting off with the guy that didn't even do his whole tier list. Last Jedi, bottom, trash movie, terrible fight scene. That's really all I remember is the fight scene in the throne room, and that makes it trash for me. Just awful.
I
So
like
the
fight scene. I thought the
So-
visuals in that were really cool.
the thing about that fight scene is there are really good elements of it.
Mhm.
Like the set, really good. The
Yes.
camera work, really good.
Yes.
It's the choreography that's really janky.
And I mean, it was on Corridor. That's why I know about it. It's because like of watching Corridor
Yeah.
and all that. It wasn't even the stunt people who messed up. It was the main actors. They were offbeat. Like
Yeah.
I saw
Adam
that
Driver
film.
was offbeat, so the people messed up.
Yeah.
They had to
I feel
fill
like-
time.
Yeah, I feel like the choreography was just like a rush job. I feel like if they had practiced that scene like a little bit longer and done a little bit more work with all the people in it, then they could have made it really good. But you can see where like people are swinging at nothing and people are just falling over after not getting hit by anything, and just some janky stuff going on. Other than that, like other than the choreography, I liked everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause like it's all one shot, which is really cool. Like they don't do like a whole
Yeah.
bunch of cuts in it, which is really nice.
Like the
And,
the cinematography is good. It's just the
And then like
the fighting is off.
that big ass curtain catching on fire during the fight and everything, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I just
So
didn't enjoy that movie. I don't remember it. Usually, if I don't remember something, it could just be my dementia, or it could just be like me just not enjoying it. Usually, if I didn't remember much of it, it means I just didn't enjoy it as a movie as a whole. Episode 2, again, don't remember anything that happened in that movie at all. It's the Clone Wars.
Dude, I just rewatched it with my fiance like back in December, and I can't remember it. I seriously can't remember most of
Nothing
that
All-
movie.
all I remember from that movie is Anakin's fucking
same.
rat tail.
Yeah.
Didn't he hate sand?
Yeah.
Yeah, he hates sand.
And I remember
That's what I
remember the assassin worms that cut through windows.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't.
To get into Padme's room.
That weird egg-shaped cow thing.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he like almost
That's
breaks his
about
back, and then he's like, "Haha, I'm
Yeah.
fine, just kidding."
The new Star Wars, that's also my D tier, along with episode 2, because it's just okay. Has some really good visuals in my opinion. Like but it has a lot of plot holes and a lot of like bad things like that. But the visuals of that movie are freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is that episode 3?
Yes, that's episode 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's the
Hey,
main
we have
film.
episode 3 in the same place.
Yeah, like episode 3 was okay. It was there. It filled the spots it needed to fill, but that was about it, in my opinion. Episode 1 is kind of about like Ethan. Like it's kind of nostalgic for me, but also like I was listening to a YouTube video the other day and they were like, you can't tell me that you didn't enjoy episode 1. Like the prequels are bad, but you had to enjoy episode 1 because that pod racing scene, everybody's hyped for that. And
Mhm.
he's not
I
wrong.
hated it. I hated it.
Oh.
I hated that pod racing scene. There's
Oh.
too many cuts. It goes on for way too long, and it's just like weird. I don't know. It's like the camera's too far away from the action, and it takes me out of it, and I feel like it doesn't matter.
I feel like
Yeah.
it was supposed to be like an overview camera though, like a tracking
It
camera,
was supposed
like
to
in
be
a
like watching
race.
NASCAR. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was watching NASCAR though. I didn't feel like the intensity of it. I didn't feel like the speed of everything. I didn't feel anything for that pod racing sequence. And everybody always says like, "Oh, yeah, that movie isn't great, but the pod racing scene." And then we just rewatched it, and I hated it.
and that's also when Anakin made it where C-3PO couldn't remember any of the forbidden Sith
Anything about
languages.
Sith. Anything about the
It's
Sith
setting
language.
up for episode 9 and episode 1, man. Woo. really setting up some plot points there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Solo is in also my B tier. Solo was okay to me. It wasn't bad, wasn't good,
Mhm.
but it was a movie. It was good. It's alright.
So you're alone, huh? Solo.
Solo.
I almost walked out of the fucking theater when I heard him say that.
I was sitting in my room watching it on my computer, and I went, "No fucking way!"
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that is all. It hurt me.
Yep.
The first of the new trilogy, episode 7, I enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed the crap out of that movie. But let me say, first Star Wars I ever saw in a theater. So like,
Really?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, throw back some nostalgia. When I was a kid, my family we didn't go to theaters. So like I didn't start going to a theater movie until I was like 18. So like it's I guess like more special to me because I saw it in theaters. And I was like visiting my dad in Georgia, so it was a fun time. It's interesting. And
Talking about like trip to see that movie, because I saw that movie in theaters as well, but I saw it with a very toxic ex of mine. So
Does
I
it
have
start
some
with a
bad
B?
memories. Yes.
Oh, awesome, dude! They made a movie. She's in a movie too. It's Wally.
Good one.
Wow.
Good one.
I'm done.
You're really
Okay.
working hard.
And then my A tier, I got Empire Strikes Back, The Return of the Jedi, and Rogue One. I enjoyed Rogue One. It was just a fun movie. It didn't like matter a ton, but it was just a fun, good movie to
You
watch.
mean matter a ton?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
And then
Dude,
in S
many
tier,
Boggans died to bring us this information.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one line turned into an entire film.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
oh
pretty
yeah,
much.
I was, and then like, the other like, the other ones of the original sequel are the original trilogy. I don't remember. So literally, like, I didn't place these 3.
Yeah, I was like, I love how your S and A tier are mostly the original trilogy, which, you know, they are for me as well, but they're the ones that you didn't remember.
But see, my friend made a good point where the fourth episode is like started a franchise. Like that started the whole thing. So like that one I feel like has to be the most important.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, without that one, we wouldn't be here right now. Like we'd be here. That doesn't make sense. We just wouldn't be talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, another fair point to make here. They didn't think that episode 4 was going to be successful when they finished. Once they were done making it, they thought it was going to be like the worst movie ever made. Like they were like, yeah, no, this is crap. A lot of people were like talking about quitting if like right after. They were like, okay, now my entire acting career is over because like I'm in like a terrible film. Nobody's gonna want to hire me. Like they were like, yeah, that's it. We're all done. Everybody quit. Like, and yet here it is now. Like,
and see, this was probably gonna be one. The tier list idea was my idea, but this is probably like one of the worst things to ever have me do a tier list on is movies. Given my history of like not remembering movies and not caring about movies as much as like most people, so like this idea for a tier list is probably gonna be one of the worst ones.
But that's also why it's the best. It's because we like having people that have like a ton of knowledge, and yet here you are with like close to none. So
exactly, that's why I thought it'd be perfect. Is he?
Right.
He's a man that's in love with films, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mr. Micah. Explain to us why we're wrong.
Okay.
Since you have a very opposite tier list.
Very opposite.
So, here's what I got right here. We got at the F tier, we got episode 1. Because of Jar Jar Binks.
That's fair.
Dear God.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I fucking hate him.
Yeah.
He's in way too much of this movie. Like,
Mr. loves Jar
God.
Jar.
Well, of course
No,
he is.
God.
He's the Sith Lord. That's why he's in.
Oh,
That's why he's in it so much.
God damn.
But yeah, I genuinely don't like anything about episode 1 except for that fight scene at the end, which is pretty cool. But everything else about that movie I straight up don't like. I like Ian McGregor in it. He's all right. I don't like how Yoda looks. I don't like how everything looks fake and like so polished, because like the Star Wars that I would remember is like a really grungy, ugly, messed up place, and then everything in this movie, everywhere you go, is like pristine and perfect and polished, and it just feels fake.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in episode 1 is like when they started using CGI for most stuff, which is probably why it looks polished and not grungy, because they weren't using like miniatures.
It was less practical effects. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't know how to make it like grungy. Like nowadays, like you just throw a grunge filter on it.
Also, like in universe wise, it was before the fall of the Republic, so everything was a little little nicer.
I don't know nothing about Star Wars. I'm gonna be honest. I know nothing. I've only seen like the main movies, and I don't really reach out anything else beyond that.
Yeah, that's honest. That's probably why, like ours, or not Aaron's, but mine and AJ's are.
I was about to say, don't include me in this. I'm dumb too.
Aaron also knows jack shit about like expanded Star Wars lore, but AJ and I do enjoy.
I know a ton.
Universe.
I know too much. Like, the fact that Revan is in Clone Wars. The fact that Revan's in Clone Wars has like blown my mind. Like, I'm so excited about it, and yet everybody else is like, "Yeah, that's Revan." I'm like, "No, but you don't understand." Like,
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, Revan's so good.
Explain to him Revan.
Revan.
Cool.
Oh Jesus.
Okay, Revan's a character that was made from the original video game, which was Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, which is an RPG. That is like one of my top favorite RPGs. The storytelling within that RPG is so amazing. It has a nice little twist around the end of it, to where it's like, yeah, you're the main character, and then spoiler alert for people who haven't played the 2003 video game. Why have you not played the 2003 video game? Anyways, the spoiler alert is that the main character, the one that you play as, no matter what choice you make, or whatever, you're Revan. You're like the Sith Lord, like the person who was destined to conquer the Republic and win. That's who your character is, and you don't find this out until like near the very end of the game, and then it's like, oh, I'm Revan. And then it goes even further to where now you can go, okay, because I'm Revan, I'm bad, or it's like, because what I've learned about Jedi, I'm good. And you have this amazing set of choices, and you have these the characters in it are so good, and the storytelling in the game is so amazing. And the fact that Revan now, from like a game that wasn't considered canon by BioWare, Revan is now considered like true story because he was put into Star Wars Clone Wars as a TV series, which was originally done by like Cartoon Network, and the animation was like just something that people threw off to the side, and now it's confirmed to be actual true story because it's owned by Disney now. Oh, it's so good. It's so good, the fact that Revan's in it. And Darth Bane, who is also an amazing Sith Lord character, is also in it. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I know who that is now because of our last episode. Channel was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's definitely interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nerd.
Yeah, you're right.
So, the other two movies that I have in my F tier are Rogue One and Solo. Rogue One because, well, maybe I should have put Rogue One in D, but it's too late. I really like this the fight scene with Darth Vader at the end. That is a really cool fight scene. Me like throwing dudes on
that was
the
really
ceiling
cool.
and chopping them up.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. But I didn't give a shit about anybody else in that movie. I didn't care about Jyn Erso or the other people. And who's the guy that couldn't breathe well and was limping? Forrest Whitaker, his character.
Yeah.
Him. I hated him, but he died immediately, so
Yeah, he did.
whatever.
You didn't care about the robot?
No, I didn't care about the robot. Wait,
Oh,
what
that's
robot?
awesome. The
Wait,
tall
what?
robot, the huge giant one that was like, yeah, I'm gonna defend like everybody no matter what cost, and he takes like his final stand at like the control room area.
Low-key
It's
one
like
of my favorite like characters
I
in Star
laughed
Wars.
at that scene.
Aw.
I laughed at that scene because he just straight up picks up a stormtrooper or whatever and just throws him into another one, and then they're both just down for the count. And
Oh,
they
yeah.
just get right
Yep.
back up.
Yeah.
It was just,
That plastoid armor doing some work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just thought that was stupid, but I thought he was fine.
Yeah, he
I
was
thought
great.
the IG was it an IG unit?
Was there an
I
IG
don't know.
unit? I don't think there was an IG unit in that film.
IG 88, is that right? No, I don't think that's right. But he was in the Force, not the Force Unleashed. What is the name of the new video game? I just beat it.
Oh, Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Fallen Order. I just beat that, and he's in there. So that's cool. And Solo, I don't like anything about that movie. I don't like how it looks. Well, I kind of like how it looks because it goes back to like the what I was talking about earlier about how it looks like lived in. The world looks lived in.
Yeah, that's true. It's like
and
rigid.
grungy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't really want to know anything about Han Solo, and
And they were like,
now
We found out that Donald Glover has sex with a robot.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was super fucking weird.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But I don't know. I liked Han to kind of be like the Joker. You don't really know that much about him, and he's just kind of like this
Yeah.
unknown character that just kind of is a shitty cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely
And-
like explained too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solo.
I didn't need to know why he got his name.
Yeah,
because
like,
that's just the stupid reason.
yeah, like, I wish I didn't know that now. Like,
Yeah.
if that's how he got his name. I didn't want to know that. Like,
It's so lame.
It's literally like we see Han as like an older guy, definitely older than he was in the Solo movie,
right.
in episode 4. And he tells like all these stories about the shit that he did, and they like show us all of it.
Mhm.
And it was like, all right, did literally nothing happen to Han
Right after.
between like
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
end
for
of
real.
Solo and the beginning of New Hope?
Yeah. And what? It was
Did-
like 20 years, 10 years maybe.
Mhm.
Did this did Han's entire character development take place in a week?
And
So yeah, I'm with you there.
and I didn't really care for the Darth Maul thing because I don't know anything about the expanded universe. So I was like, he's dead, and then it was like he's back, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I
Gotcha.
guess that's fine.
Yeah, I could understand why that's confusing. Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah.
he shows up in Clone Wars.
Yeah. Which, okay, and here's another issue, is like Clone Wars, when you look at it, it's like, that's a kid's show. It's on Cartoon Network, it's animated, everything to do with it, when you look at it, it's like, that's a kid's show. But then it's like, a ton of it comes back into these films. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that's like, well, why is that a thing? And it's like, oh, cause Clone Wars. And it's like, oh, I gotta watch like a kid show for it? It's like, no. It ain't.
That's the
It's
second
Clone Wars-
Star Wars kids show that's like canon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we don't talk about Rebels.
We don't talk about Rebels,
don't talk
except
about
for
Rebels.
like
The third
2 fight scenes in Rebels.
The third one.
The Ahsoka and Darth Vader. That's fine.
I was talking about Mando.
What?
What?
Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not
Wait,
that's
you
not
said-
a kid show.
That's not a kid show.
It's definitely geared to kids.
No.
No.
All right.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that either.
Yeah,
I would-
no.
I mean, like, I definitely feel like that's geared to like kids. Like, I don't feel like that's meant to be like.
I don't feel
What?
I don't
For
feel like
adults.
it's geared to kids, but I feel like it's obvious that it was done by Disney.
Maybe that's what I mean.
That's
Like,
yes.
it's PG.
right.
Like, super.
I understand
PG.
what you're saying. Yes, it does feel like it was done by Disney. Yeah.
I feel like kids can watch it and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it, but I definitely don't feel like it was made for kids.
Right. Yeah. No, that's what Aaron's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
you're wrong.
I would see it more as like a family show. Like everybody could watch that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's like just for kids or just for adults. I feel like it's
Yeah.
like a mix between the two, like all Star Wars stuff is.
And like Marvel, like the Marvel
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah,
I don't look
exactly.
at that and go, this is made for kids.
Yeah.
But I definitely
guess you're
see
right. No, you're making
a
sense.
ton of kids watch it and kids enjoy it,
Mhm.
but so do a lot of adults.
Yeah, for real.
They need to make more shows like DC's though, like where they're just like super R-rated.
Or, like
Yeah,
that's
that would be
more of
cool.
DC's thing.
Yeah, that's why Deadpool exists, Aaron.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry to interrupt with my
No, you're good.
Okay.
making no sense self.
All right, so in D list I have Empire Strikes Back because I feel like that's the one I like watch these all at the same time recently, so they all kind of like mold together. That's the one where Han is frozen in carbonite, right? And Leia comes and gets him out.
Believe,
No.
isn't it?
No,
It's at the end of Empire. Han is frozen in carbonite, and then the beginning
Correct.
of Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
Leia comes and gets
So
him
all
out.
the Cloud City stuff happens in
At the
episode
end of Empire.
yeah.
That's when Luke gets his arm cut off. That's when Han gets frozen in carbonite.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Why did I put this so low? Oh, I like the fight scene with Darth Vader and Luke, like right before.
Mhm.
I think this is the one, dude. I seriously can't remember this movie. It's just like gone, and I keep thinking of like A New Hope and what is the last one called?
Return of the
This
Jedi.
is how little. Yeah, Return of the Jedi. I think this is the fight scene that I'm thinking of, where you just see the blue and the red, and it's like kind of foggy. And I just remember seeing that shot and being like, "Oh, that looks really, really cool."
Yeah, that's this one. That's
okay.
episode 4
Okay, cool.
or episode 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that fight scene. I thought the movie overall was fine. Like, it still feels like Star Wars-y. It still feels like a space epic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like that's when it kind of gets more into like the romance of Han and Leia. And when I was a kid, I didn't give a shit about that. I just wanted to see some lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that happens in Empire is the Luke, I am your father. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
plot twist happens at the end of Empire. So, upon initial viewing at the end of Empire, everyone's like, what the fuck
Yeah.
just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But I knew about that as a kid, so it wasn't really like a twist to me
Yeah.
because my brothers and my dad are huge Star Wars fans. So like I grew up in a Star Wars household, like always knowing about the movies.
Yeah.
But like I never sat down and watched all of them until recently, actually. So
Yeah.
I don't except for episode that the one I seen. Oh shit, he's Darth Vader. Oh, that's so cool. And we went and saw like the midnight showing of it at my AMC near me, and it was really cool. I remember like thinking it was so cool as a kid, and also being like, wait, why did I just watch that? Man was just destroyed by a lightsaber and thrown in lava. How was I allowed to watch that?
Yeah. I feel
But
like
I'm getting ahead of
the whole.
oh, go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to.
Like the whole like Darth Vader's Luke's father thing. I feel like it's such a not even a plot twist anymore because everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
It's so like classic. So yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from about like that sort of not having an impact because you already knew about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people do that. I feel like a lot of people forget that was like one of the big parts of Empire.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah, I
feel
sure
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Surprising no one.
And then for my last D tier movie, I got episode 2, which I kind of discussed a little bit about why I don't like it. I just feel like it's a pretty boring, uninteresting movie, except when Obi-Wan's on screen. I always love him. And Ian McGregor's
Hello
great
there.
as Obi-Wan. Yeah,
Ian
for
McGregor
real.
is great.
General
Everything-
Kenobi.
Everything I've seen Ian McGregor in, I like. I like his role. I just
Men Who Stare at Goats, amazing film.
I've never seen that, but I really, really want to.
Watch it. Ewan McGregor's great in it.
I'm excited. I really want
It's
to watch
Ewan-
that.
It's Ewan McGregor and George Clooney. How can you go wrong?
Hey, Ethan, put it on the list. Put it on the list, Ethan.
I will. It's going on right now.
Thank you. You should watch Wicker
But
Man.
this
Completely off topic.
oh the Nicolas Cage movie? Yeah. Absolutely not.
What a good movie.
No.
Did you mean Nicolas Cage's woman punching simulator?
Movie's awesome.
I cried laughing at that movie because it was just the end of it was just Nicolas Cage running around this village screaming, "Where is my daughter?" and just abusing women.
He forgot he was filming is all it is.
That was all improvised. They accidentally left the camera on, and Nick Cage was like, "I gotta fill time."
It was actually a hidden camera show. They actually drugged and kidnapped him.
Oh God. But yeah, episode 2 is in D tier again because it just seems so weird and polished, and I'm pretty sure that's the movie where she takes the fake bite of the pear.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. No thanks. It's like the fakest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Also, that whole like resort getaway for those two is just so creepy.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. Especially like there's the weird fireplace scene where like Anakin just like turns evil and he's like it's like this weird like tempting thing, but at the same time he's like, but no, I can't because I'm a Jedi and I have a code. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha, just kidding.
I feel like the biggest way the trilogy fails is it was supposed to sell this whole love story between Anakin and Padme, but honestly, it just feels like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
for real.
That's true.
Also, there's like a huge fucking age gap between them, and then
Yep.
just like in the next movie, they're like this exact same age, even though the very first one he was like 6 years old or whatever, and she was like
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
16 maybe.
Mhm.
he's
And
like
then in
maybe
the next
like
movie.
10 or 11.
Yeah. And
And
then
it's
in the
like-
next movie, she's 16 and he looks like he's like 23.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And he keeps referring to her as my lady. That's fucking
needed
cringy. I
to
just
tell
see
this.
him tipping his fedora.
Yeah.
With
Tips
his
fedora.
neck beard.
Strokes his neck beard. Yeah.
He didn't have to stroke it. The force powers will. Metachlorians.
Oh, God. That's the creepiest thing I've
Oh
ever
my
heard
god, I
of.
forgot about the metachlorians.
Yes,
or
that
whatever.
was the
They
prequels.
completely. That was the very first one, and then you don't really hear about it that much
Right.
anymore. In the episode 1, he's like, "Oh, he's got a fucking ton of metachlorians in his blood. He's special." And then in the other movies, it's just like you got the Force. It's around everything. Doesn't matter like who uses it.
Yeah. Okay.
I forgot to mention that in the Phantom Menace. Yeah, that's another reason I don't like it.
There's the metachlorians. Yeah. No, I disagree. I don't like the metachlorians, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And C tier, we got Revenge of the Sith. I haven't finished watching that. The rewatching
Oh.
it. I watched it when it came out. I've seen it. I just
Mostly pulling an AJ,
haven't-
I see.
I haven't seen it all the way through. I'm pretty sure since I went and saw it as a kid. But
It's
It's a great film.
it's
It's a
interesting.
great film.
I really like the last fight scene.
Yeah.
And I like General Grievous and the hello there and the General Kenobi.
Mhm.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
That's why AJ put
Do
it
it.
in S tier. Because of that.
all of those reasons, including memes, highly including memes.
Yeah, it's got some good ass
It
memes
got some
coming out of
good
this
memes,
movie.
man.
But I'm trying to think of more
Freaking
stuff. To
Order
say.
66 is so retarded.
It is real stupid.
But that's like 100% canon. Like that's like,
It's still retarded.
110%
but that's Star Wars. Like that's the entire foundation of, like for
No, I'm not saying
but,
like the concept of Order 66 is retarded. I'm saying
How they-
when we just see like 4 clones take out a Jedi
yeah,
Master
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have.
without
Yeah.
any
They
resistance,
should have
like
filmed it.
no
better.
fighting.
Yeah.
Like every single Jedi is like, wait, what? What's happening?
Except
Oh no, I'm
Yoda.
dead.
Except Yoda. Yoda was the only one that's like, oh
Good relations with the Wookiees I have.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's not the best movie, but it's not the worst. That's why I got it in C. All right, now I got some controversial hits for you, fellas.
You sure do.
Yeah, you do.
Yep.
Let's explain this real
Have to
quick.
defend
Alright.
this.
So in B tier, I got Force Awakens. I really enjoyed that movie when it came out. Kylo Ren, fucking love Adam Driver. Everything he's in, I absolutely love. I saw him in Marriage Story. He's the bomb in that. I really like him as Kylo Ren. I feel like he's menacing, and he's not just bad because he's bad. He's complex. He's not just like mustache twirling villain kind of thing. He has reasons, and I get it, and I like it. And Rey, I didn't really like in the newest 2 movies until she kind of got a little more fleshed out in the newest one, which leads me into my second B category, which is the newest one, which I know a lot of people hate. Episode 9, a lot of people hate it.
I don't hate it.
But you don't hate it?
No, it's okay. I can tell you right now, the reasons that AJ and Ethan don't like it, Ethan doesn't know because he hasn't seen it.
I
so
haven't
he's
seen
not
it.
like making.
I'm
a full
withholding my opinion.
But the reason that AJ doesn't like it is the deep Star Wars lore that me and you don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't focus. It doesn't go. It doesn't go with any of them.
He's good. He's
just
twitching.
like-
His eye is twitching.
It's just
looking
like
at this right now.
lore.
You're being-
It-
Nah, that don't
I have-
exist.
From what I've seen, it does like rewrite a lot of things that were accepted as
He
canon.
writes a ton. Ethan, no, you don't
Yeah.
understand. It
Yeah,
could,
no, I know. I've read shit about it, but I haven't seen the movie, so I'm gonna withhold my opinion.
So, while we were on our trip to Florida, AJ and Tavish, the guy that got married, both of them are deep Star Wars lore people, and they just both hammered me the entire trip with the Star Wars deep lore. I think it's a very visually pleasing movie. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
The reason it's so low to me is the kiss. That's the main reason I put it so low.
Dude, that's why it's so high for me. I think it's really deserved. I loved the kids.
Fight.
I understand why people wouldn't like it. I completely understand. But I really wanted Kylo and Ren and Rey to be together since the first one.
No, I hated all of it.
I liked it. I liked the tension, the sexual tension that they had.
I think Rey's a hoe.
Yeah, because that's what Finn was gonna say to her before they fell into the pit.
He was gonna be
never
like,
found
Rey,
out.
I have something to tell
Yeah.
you. You're a hoe.
That's my other complaint as well, is when Finn was like, I have something to tell you. And then later, they're like, hey, what was that you were going to tell Rey? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's not the time. He's like, no, we're about to die. Think it's a good time. He's like, nope, not the time.
Not the
And
time.
then it just shows him whispering
was gonna
in her
say-
ear. We will never know what he was supposed to say there.
No, he was going to say Hitler did nothing wrong.
Now, many people now are saying that he's force sensitive. Like that's what he was gonna tell her. But nah.
I'm actually a closet racist. That's what he was going to say.
I'm only friends with you guys because you guys have the force. That's it.
I really don't like this Wookiee.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I have the hugest crush on Poe. Oh my god.
That was another thing, is they were saying he was gay.
They forced that in 7. Yeah, they forced that
Yeah.
real hard
Yeah,
in
no.
7.
There's a really big push for him being gay.
There was a big Poe-mance.
I'm kind of glad that they didn't make him gay, but I also kind of wish that they would have, because like it shows that only guys can have like I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but like guys in media, they're either like friends, but they like kind of are dicks to each other, or they're like in love. And I feel like Poe and Finn had like a kind of balance between where they were both like real good friends, but they weren't like assholes to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that they were just straight up friends and they never made anything like sexual.
It's great that you bring that up, because in the newest, in episode 9, there's the scene where there's like the 2 chicks kissing in like the background.
Yeah.
There was a ton of people that were outraged. Not on the fact that it was like 2 chicks, but they were like, why couldn't it be guys? Like, they were like, come on, like, you could have done that just to... I feel like that the group of people that were upset...
That's just people looking for something to complain about.
Yeah, for real.
They didn't have to
I feel
complain
like those
about
type
that
of
movie.
people-
They didn't have to complain about that.
Yeah. I feel like those type of people were the ones that were like, man, I can't wait for Poe and Finn. And then it didn't happen, so they were like, man, those 2 chicks, they could have been dudes. Like, they were like, let's find something. Like,
Also, Finn's a hoe too.
Whole movie, loved it, but lesbian kiss?
nah.
Like Finn's a hoe. Who was he going for? Rey? Like in the first movie?
And
And
in
then
the
the
first
second one, he
yeah,
just like randomly off branched to that like
to Rose.
Chinese. Yeah.
Yeah.
To Rose, yeah.
And then
I
like,
straight up don't like Rose.
Uh-huh. Nobody
God.
does. No.
Fuck
everybody
Rose.
bullied her. I
Yeah.
feel so bad. She got like bullied, like in
Yeah,
life about
that's
that.
messed
awful.
up.
Yeah.
No, the
Like,
actress,
You can,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
fine
yeah,
with the actress. Nothing against her. I don't like the character.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's not the
People-
actress.
like, I hate Star Wars fans because they like straight up attack the people who make the movies.
Mm-hmm.
It like that is completely uncalled for. Like, if you don't like a movie, you don't like a movie. Don't fucking harass people
Yeah.
because it's their job. That was their job. Like, fuck you, dude. If you told Ryan Johnson he should kill himself because he made a movie you didn't like that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Have your opinions, but don't put death threats on
Yep.
people.
Yeah. There needs to
Like,
be a
Oh my
disconnect
god,
somewhere.
for real.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
cross the
Don't look
line.
at the DM I sent you then. No, I'm joking.
Haha.
But yeah, I really actually enjoyed the fight scene between Rey and Kylo, where they were in like 2 different places.
That was
and
cool.
he was like trying to figure out where she was. I really liked that. I thought visually that was done really, really
I
well
agree.
and really cool. And all right, I'll talk about a few things that I don't like. Straight up, don't like that Rey's just all of a sudden a Palpatine, and he's just back from the dead, and nobody's like,
Nobody questions
"Hey, how'd
it.
you come back?"
Yeah.
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 Like, was he a clone? Did I don't fucking know. I don't know. It doesn't make
there
sense.
were a few comics.
I don't think anyone knows.
There were a few comics that were made that have him in it, and they explain as to why he got put back, but you don't know unless you read the comics.
Nerd!
So
Yeah.
like, and even then, like when he comes back in the comics, he does some stuff in those comics, and Disney doesn't follow that. So it's like they were like, oh, he's back in this comic? Oh, that's great. We'll do that. But don't do anything else that goes with it that makes it good. Like the comic book, when you read it and you find that like Palpatine's back again and he does like all of this amazing stuff and it's really cool, really well done. Great comic book. And then it's like, okay, so he's back now, and then he does some stuff, but then you go into like the movie and he's back and doesn't do any of it. And not at all. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing along the same lines, not even close. Nothing. So, yeah.
Another thing I didn't like was how they didn't do anything with the Knights of Ren.
They were showcased, basically. Yeah.
They've been showing them from like the first movie, and you're like, oh, these guys are
They're gonna be awesome.
be like, they're super cool. We're gonna learn more about them as the movie goes on.
Nothing.
And then nothing. And then Kylo Ren just kills him at the end.
Yep.
But I love I just love Kylo Ren. I just love him a whole lot. I also really like the opening fight scene with Kylo going to find the Sith Wayfinder at the very beginning of the movie, like right after the title crawl.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that those fight scenes were cool.
Yeah, fight scenes. Yeah, the fight scenes were good. I can see that.
How do you feel about the knife?
The knife.
Like,
Oh, I mean, that's just a plot device. I mean, I understand. You got to get from point A to point B somehow.
But-
it doesn't really make sense.
But
'cause,
why?
Like, how would you hold it? Like if they weren't in that exact position, would it have worked? Would there have been like a little green arrow saying go to the right a little bit or go to the left a little bit?
they crash
But she
landed
just-
and walked over a
Yeah,
hill
exactly.
and then
Yeah.
opened a knife and was like, that's it,
Yeah.
right there. Found it.
Yeah, like
I kind of forgot about it until you just said that.
like see Palpatine created that knife, and he was like, you know what? This is how people are gonna find my evil secret, super secret base. This is how they're gonna find it. And they just put it on a planet, and then it's like, oh, you mean like the main protagonist, like the good guys that have come to kill me, found my device for my
Imagine if,
location.
a wave would have hit the ring like a little bit hard one day and like chipped
Yeah,
off a
for real.
piece.
Yeah.
So then
Or,
it doesn't match up to the
like-
knife.
Yeah,
And it's just gone then. It's done.
yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but I mean, it's just a movie device. I mean,
So like my 3 complaints about the whole movie are like the kiss,
Mhm.
the knife, and then just Finn never uttering what he was gonna say.
oh, I didn't really care about what Finn had to say.
Hyperspace.
I was just like,
Fair.
I was just kind of like, all right. I thought he was gonna say something like "raise a Palpatine," but then they showed us later, so they were like,
Hail Hydra. That's what he was gonna say.
We
He
don't
was
have-
gonna lean in Hail Hydra.
and then that would have tied the Star Wars universe and the MCU together. Hell yeah!
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I was Phasma the whole time.
But this leads me into my A tier movie, which is I forgot the title of it, The Last Jedi.
Mhm.
That's a very controversial take. Nobody seems to like this
All of
movie.
us put it in F.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really liked the visuals. I loved how it looked. It felt like a Rian Johnson movie. Did you guys see Knives Out?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't.
I want to see it really bad.
I heard
It's
it's
really good. It is really good. You guys need to check it out. But I don't understand why everyone hated it so much.
Here's why.
Like I get the Luke thing. People he made Luke grumpy,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand why Luke would be grumpy and want to be exiled because of all the shit that happened to him. I would be done with the Force too. I'd be like, well, I turned my nephew evil. I'm just gonna fuck off and be alone.
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand that.
Here's why. Here's why I don't like it, and it's because of the very thing that you said at first. I don't hate the director. Okay, let me say that first. Let me preface it by saying I don't hate the director. I don't hate Rian Johnson, but you said it felt like a Rian Johnson film. It's Star Wars. It's not supposed to feel like a Rian Johnson film. It's supposed to feel like a Star Wars film.
So you're saying that nobody should bring a part of themselves to the work that they make?
I feel like when it comes to Star Wars, it has to
Oof.
it has to be like a traditional thing for Star Wars. It shouldn't
So you want to just see the same movie over and over?
No. I want it to like carry on in story, but I also at the same time I don't want it to be like a Brian Johnson theme park tour. He runs in and is like, "This is what I want my movie to look like." You know, I don't want it to be like that. Tour.
No,
I feel like
I disagree. People
feel like
need to bring in their own takes on stuff. And
I feel like it's kind of like when people don't like a band because like they'll come out with a new album that has like their sound has changed since like their first album, and people who fell in love with the band because of the sound that they had in the first album, they've changed their sound because, you know, it's different, you know, and they're like, they didn't, you know, it just doesn't feel the same, even though it's the same title, it's the same band. It doesn't feel the same because it's changed so much over the years, and the people who fell in love with some of what like the original sound don't like the new direction that it's taking.
Yeah.
I feel like there's nothing wrong with that decision, but then there's other people who are like, oh, well, I don't like the old stuff as much, but I really like their new stuff. Because, you know, taste is subjective.
That's me being in my traditional ways. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
And also, AJ, me and you as somebody, like as people who know about Star Wars Legends, and because Legends goes into detail about what Luke does after the original trilogy.
He has a wife.
And there's like so many cool stories in there that people thought about, like, and in the expanded universe we read about, and we're like, that's awesome. That's so cool. And then they come out with the new trilogy and it doesn't really do any of that, and it retcons a lot of that, and it makes Legends not canon.
It almost makes like,
and I feel like that's a big part of why we don't like the direction that the new trilogy gone in, because it's not what we thought it would go in, because we thought it would follow Legends.
Mm-hmm.
I get you. That makes sense. I understand that.
Also,
so like I'm trying to understand it from like a perspective of somebody who has never like people, because the majority of people didn't go and read Star Wars Legends or absorb any of that like post episode 6 content that was just out there for just the people who wanted to go and find it, because it was never made into any like televised series or films. Mm-hmm. It was just like comics and novels. Mm-hmm. So there weren't a whole lot of people that went and read that stuff. But for the people who did, they're like, this isn't what I expected. So I feel like that's a big part of it.
I get that. But I really just love the visuals in this. I thought the special effects were really good.
Dude, the duel between Kylo and Luke at the end of the movie, so good.
So good. I
loved that.
It's so good.
I didn't like the Rose and Finn subplot.
Mm-hmm. Nope, me neither.
That kind of sucked.
What blew my mind,
the Canto Bite shit.
Yeah,
I didn't like
that. What blew my mind was that like 50% of that was George Lucas's own ideas. Like George Lucas came in and was like, "Yeah, I want it to look like this, and this is how I want it to be, and do this." And had like this like bits of the bar scene in mind, like to have like the aliens that were doing like the musical or whatever. That was his whole idea. That blew my mind. That was his idea. Like I was like, no, yeah, but it was, yeah.
That makes sense after the prequels.
Yeah.
I also didn't like the chase, like the space chase. It just felt so slow.
I can't remember a space chase.
No, like the whole movie, like they were the New Order was chasing the rebels. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it was like, and of course
it felt like a slow burn kind of thing. I get you.
Yeah, and like just they sort of introduced like they were like, oh, they don't have enough fuel to, and it was like, when the fuck has Star Wars cared about fuel in the main series? Like,
and the bombers,
this is coming out of nowhere.
And the bombers not being Y-wings, and instead they're these weird like T-shape looking ships,
and they drop magnetic bombs, which don't make any sense.
And there was this weird like suspense with the one lady in like the bomb ship. It was like, is she going to be able to deploy one? Who knows?
Is that a dog?
Yeah, it's my puppy. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's so cute. I can hear Gene. It. Hi.
Sorry. He just woke up from his nap.
I can't see him, but I love him already.
I'll post a picture of him.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was just it felt like when I was watching episode 8 in theaters, I thought it was going to be over about 20 minutes before it actually ended.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No, yeah, I thought the same thing.
I was like, all right, this is going to be the end. And then it went on for another half hour.
Yeah. Well,
And like,
Yeah.
not all of that half hour is bad, because in that you get that great fight scene between Kylo Ren and Luke. And people, and I know some people complained about the force projection thing.
I
that
thought
it was
that was
kind of-
cool. I thought that was
They-
cool.
yeah.
New
I know a lot of
force
people were
power
like-
they added.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, well, that was a total ass pull. And I'm like, not really. Because that's actually something that they got from Legends. That was one of the powers that Luke had.
yeah.
So that I was okay with. And it was really cool, because if you like paid attention during the fight, you could tell that he wasn't actually there.
Yes.
But then
Yeah,
that's
he
there's
wasn't
that.
leaving footprints and stuff, and he looked better.
He also
he did.
had the lightsaber that we knew was like just destroyed.
Mhm.
And his hair was shorter.
Yeah.
So it's
Also,
like
the lightsaber that gets destroyed in The Last Jedi, does it come back in the newest one?
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
so. I think that was one of the complaints
How did that
that was done with it.
How did that happen?
The don't know.
Because I remember seeing that the first time and being like, I was like, oh, I was excited because I was like, oh, cool, is the green one going to be in this one? Because the other one, the blue one, got destroyed, and then they light it up and it was blue, and I was like,
Yeah.
how?
Yeah.
I thought it was destroyed.
No, that's another thing, is that J.J. Abrams did his best to erase Rian Johnson's work a little bit, and he even makes fun of it here and there in the film. So yeah.
Also, I like the scene in the Last Jedi whenever they do the jump to star space and everything's like hyperspace. I mean, and everything like goes silent and everything's like black and white. I thought that looked really, really cool.
Yeah, the using the ship as like a battering ram.
Yeah,
thing.
it was super cool. I thought that was cool.
That was really cool in the moment when I like visually, and like when I saw it, I was like, that's badass. Thinking too much about it, and this is just, I understand that this is just like a me problem of like thinking about like, all right, but how they've explained like how they go into hyperspeed before and how those engines work.
Can't do that.
I don't. That
Yeah, you
like,
can't do that.
They've explained like the physics of hyperspace, and I don't think that that's actually how hyperspace works as explained in the lore. But so that's another one of those things that people complain about because of how that they sort of explain the physics of hyperspace in other material. That wouldn't work, but for the movies they just did it. And yes, it looks really cool, and in the movie it was a badass moment and I loved it. But when you like sort of like fact checked it against like expanded universe, it doesn't really match up. So there's a weird like, do I look at the movie like in a vacuum, or do I compare it against the expanded universe? Because you know, if you view it in a vacuum, that moment like is really, really cool and it's awesome and I loved it visually. Like just I had goosebumps when that happened.
Yeah,
it was awesome. So I love that moment. But then when you sort of like and try to check for like consistency and stuff like that, it sort of doesn't really. So I don't know. I'm torn on that, like that specific scene, because I really enjoyed it when I watched it, but I also, there's a part of me that's like a stickler for continuity, that like I can try to turn my brain off and ignore stuff like that and just enjoy it for what it is. But then there's a part of my brain that's like, but that doesn't really make sense though. So as far as that, I'm torn on it because of those two different. But I understand, like, for somebody who has no knowledge of like expanded lore and they don't give a shit how hyperspace works, they just see that as a really badass space battle where holy fuck, that ship hit the other ship. So I understand why that scene is so very popular. Yeah, because it's awesome. It's badass.
Yeah.
And
all right,
your S tier?
And my S tier is A New Hope. Which, I mean, come on, this is the best. This is the best one.
Yep.
It's easily the best one.
Without it, we wouldn't have Star Wars.
Yeah, for real. Pretty sure. Oh, not everyone put it in the top one.
No, I didn't.
Nah,
anyway.
mine was an A
Yeah,
tier.
same.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, to me, like, that's of course, like what started this entire huge, massive, multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Yep.
And it's got some really cool cinematography and some really cool scenes. The Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight scene is pretty fucking lame, but
Yeah,
it's the
that's one.
70s.
I think that's like the only reason that it's in A tier versus S tier for me, because I put the other two of the original trilogy in S tier, and I think it's just because like the Darth Vader fights in Episode 5 and Episode 6 are really cool, and I really like them.
Yeah.
But then in Episode 4, it's just that
Is that the one
fight
where
between Obi-Wan.
the lightsaber literally flies off the thing? Like flies out?
What?
Like
No.
one of the lightsabers, like in one of the movies, like the light rod he's using falls out, and they just have to like trace it back on there, like by hand later on. It's very interesting.
I remember hearing about that happening. I'm not sure what episode it was when that happened. I'm not sure what film.
I think it's one of the original 3.
Yeah, that would make
It
a lot
had
of
to be.
sense. I don't know which one it was.
But like they had like just plain light rays things that they were using, and they were just tracking like coloration on it, and one of them just like flew out in the mid fight.
I thought in the original trilogy they just used like they were just the hilts with the metal poles coming out of them.
I thought they were like little white sheet things.
Yeah, I think maybe some of them were just the hilts, and some of them were the white sheet things. Because I'm thinking the same thing he is. It's just like poles. It's like motion tracked it onto.
Looking it up really quick.
Yeah.
Motion tracked it by hand, which sounds
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, for real.
Do you watch Corridor?
I watched the. Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah.
I love their videos. They make good
Yeah,
stuff.
dude, they're awesome. Ethan got me into them.
Yeah, I just found them not recently. Maybe like, I don't even think it was a year ago. I don't know. It was like this summer.
I came over to his dorm one
Last
afternoon,
summer.
and he was like showing it to me, because he lives like an hour away from me, and so like I rode over there, and
Dang.
he was like showing me like the videos and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I just went home and binged them all.
Yeah. I really
I'm
like
looking
their...
at.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I found a picture from behind the scenes of the filming of the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader,
It's just hilts.
and it's just they have the hilts, but then they have like aluminum rods coming out of them,
Okay.
Yeah.
and it's just a metal rod that they bang together. So then they have to track all that lighting effects and stuff by hand. I think later on in the series they started putting like reflective tape on the lightsabers.
Huh.
To like help with the like tracking it,
Yeah.
because keeping it like a static color, because I think they would put like reflective tape on it, and then they would shine.
Yep.
I think they would put like a UV tape or something on it, and then they would shine like a UV light on it, so it would show up. I don't know, something like that.
I think I remember
Uh,
that.
Don't quote me on that. I could be very, very wrong.
I think we've all watched the same video on it. That's what's funny.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because the only BTS I watch is the Japanese boy bands. No, I'm joking.
I was gonna make the joke. I was preparing the joke.
Good old K-pop.
Yeah, man.
I love how you called it Japanese instead of
Yeah, you
Korean.
did.
too.
Oh, that's what I say. I'm a racist.
Yeah, Carly's gonna have fun
People
with
are
that one. Carly's gonna.
People are gonna be so mad.
Really? We have K-pop subscribers? I hope they unsub.
You know that my girlfriend used to be
They're
a
all
K-pop
over the
fan.
place, man. You can never leave them. They never escape.
Ugh.
Allison used to be big into
That
K-pop.
doesn't surprise me.
Allison, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But Allison won't care because she knows I'm an idiot.
I'm glad she.
When
Boys.
when Allison and I first started dating, her ringtone was a K-pop song.
No.
Oh,
And I asked, and what's
You
funny
still
is I
dated
asked
her?
her why. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Have you seen my face?
That's also, and apparently you were creepy.
When am I not creepy? I'm awkward.
That's true. We need to get
I'm
Allison
awkward,
on the
and
podcast.
it comes off as creepy.
Can we get Allison on the podcast later?
Yeah,
Alright.
she said that she would
Awesome.
actually,
nice.
but no, she had a K-pop song as her ringtone, and I asked her why, and she was like, "So I used to be really into K-pop. I'm not anymore, and I understand it's really cringy." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, cool. why is it so your ringtone? And she's like, it's my ringtone because it's so cringy and I don't want anyone to hear it, so I answer my phone really fast.
Oh, that's smart.
I was like, huh. Okay then.
Yeah.
So
She's gotten a new phone and she no longer has that ringtone since then. By
Thank
the way.
God.
Yeah.
so we're running at like an hour and 46 minutes.
This is a
So
long
we
one.
probably
Oh,
need to
wow.
wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
But
Yep. Okay.
That's true.
everybody
Alright.
go check out the Milfpod. Put their information down below. What's your Instagram and like where can they find you, Micah?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Everywhere, just the MILF Pod. My little cartoon face with a blue background that says the MILF Pod or the MILF Podcast.
I'll put links and stuff in the description. People want to go check
Okay,
it out.
cool.
Nice.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Micah.
Yeah, we enjoyed you.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was great having you on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah,
thanks for
absolutely.
not agreeing with us.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no problem.
It's always nice to have different opinions. All three of us.
No, it actually I wasn't trying to be sarcastic. I actually do love getting people with different
Yeah,
opinions.
because
Because for the most part, the three of us
we have very
are
similar.
pretty similar.
Yeah. We have very
Pretty similar
very
opinions
similar.
on stuff.
So
I get
Yeah.
you.
Except for Aaron, because he has shit taste.
yeah,
Hey.
and we get to make fun of him for it because
why you're
Ethan and
my
I
friend.
agree a lot. So
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yeah.
It's been a
Hey,
blast.
thank you for coming.
and for our viewers, thanks for listening, and we'll hopefully see you next week. No promises. So
We won't see them.
stay tuned.
They're just gonna hear audio. We won't. There's no camera.
Bye.
Bye.